Welcome back, guys. Sorry for that interruption. So we are going to continue with the back part of this gown. So the next thing I'm going to do is to fold my fabric into two once more. The fabric is very shaky, so I'm taking my time to arrange it very well. So I'm folding the fabric into two, and we are going to use the front part. We'll place it on this back part and we'll trace it out. So I'm going to bring in the previously cut front part. And I'm going to place it on the back part. And that is how we are going to draw the back part. Since we are going to be having a zipper at the back, I'm going to be leaving a zipper allowance. So I'm going to leave like 1 or 1.5 inches at the center back for the zipper allowance. So I'm going to link this waistline, hip line and bust line. For the back neckline, I'm going to come down by just 1 inch. Since it's a halter neckline, we don't want the back neckline to be too deep. If not, it's going to affect the neck. So I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Now connect it to the front neckline like so. And for the back waist, to prevent the zip from bulging, I'm going to go in here by 1/2 inch, and then I'll link it back to the hip line and up to the bust line. This is to contour the back. And at the knee line, we are going to be using 33 inches for the knee line. We have our knee line here. I'm also going to contour the back butt. So on the knee line, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch and I'll shape it to the hip line. That is if you want it to bring out the shape of the butt. But if you want it straight, you can go down from here straight. So I think that's what we are going to be using since it's not a pencil gown. So from this new line, I'm going to put in my zipper allowance of 1 inch. 1 inch. Right up to the neckline. And on the hip line as well, I'm going to maintain the 1 inch, and from here I'm going down straight. For this back part, my across back is 14 inches. So at the middle of the armhole, I'm going to measure 14 inches is 7 divided by 2 gives us 7 plus half inch is 7.5. So we have our back armhole here. So it's a bit bigger than the front armhole. So that is it. So I'm going to cut it out, and then we'll also print our darts to come out on the back part. And for this back part, whatever we have removed here, we are going to add it back here. So the half inch we have taken out, we are adding it back here. So I'm going to go ahead and print out my darts on the back part as well. So here we have our front and back part. So we are going to be cutting an interfacing for the front neckline. And the interfacing is to turn this part that has this slit before we are going to put the halter neck. So our interfacing will come right down here. For the back part, we are not going to use any facing, since we are going to be putting a halter neck, a mandarin neck. So we will not need a facing for the back part. So this is our front facing. As you can see, the front neck has a slit. So we need to turn this slit with a facing, and this is how we are going to place it. You are going to sew and turn it. So before we move ahead to draw the sleeves, we are going to be cutting a short sleeve. We are going to measure the armhole. Gives us 10.5. That's the armhole round. So I'm going to keep this aside, and we are going to move over to cutting of the sleeves. So I'll fold my fabric into two, and I'm going to draw my starting line. The length of this sleeve is 8 inches, but I'm going to make it 9 because we are going to use ½ inch here for joining the shoulder and another ½ inch here for hemming the sleeve. So I'm going to measure 9 inches. For the cap height, I'm going to use 4 inches. For the armhole, I'm using the 8 that we use to cut the armhole of the dress plus extra 1 inch. And I'm going to draw a diagonal line like so. And I'll mark the center of this diagonal line. We have 10 here, so 5 is the center. And on this part going towards the armhole, we are going to move inwards. We are going to move down by ½ inch, and we are going to make a curve like this. On this part going towards the shoulder, we are going to look for the midpoint. This is the midpoint. Here we are going outwards by ½ inch, and we are going to make another curve that is touching this center. So we have our armhole curve. So if you are still finding difficulties in drawing the sleeve, I have a video on this channel that will give you a detailed tutorial on how to draft a basic sleeve. So we are going to measure this armhole area to make sure it is exactly the same as on our dress. So it was 10.5. This is it here, 10.5. So the next thing we are going to be putting in is the arm round. The arm round here is 13 inches divided by 2 is 6.5. We are adding 1 inch for seam allowance, and we are going to link it like this. So this is our basic sleeve. So I'm going to cut it out. Please, if you are here and you're watching us, please kindly double tap on the screen to like this tutorial. So I'm going to place this one on my fabric again, folded into two, and I'm going to cut out the second sleeve. And I'll notch the shoulder area. So we have our sleeve. So these are the parts we have for this dress. We have the two sleeves, we have the front part and the back part. This one here is the back part, and this is the zipper allowance. Let me notch the zipper allowance so that we don't get confused. This is the back part, and we have the front part here and the facing for the front part. So right now we are going to be moving over to the sewing machine to begin sewing this dress. So I'm going to move the camera over to the sewing machine. So if you see my camera shaking, know that we are moving to the other side of the room. So here we are.